This is the Flat Earth series that will blow your mind. Probably many of you have heard of such videos, but I will give you the information easily. We have been taught since childhood that the Earth is round like a ball or globe. It is taught in every school around the world. Therefore, the understanding of Earth spherical has become our systems even exceed the religious beliefs. If anyone says that the Earth is flat, we think he's a fool or madman. This is definitely a joke. But these people are not joking, they are very serious. It turns out that indeed there are things that are very exciting and mind-blowing. Because of these things, the Flat Earth became trending topic on Google Analytics since November 2015. People like to be opened their eyes and everyone can do their own research and check the correctness of data or arguments. Let's see why Flat Earth consciousness is so epidemic. We start from 10 things that make us confident that the Earth was spherical. 1. There are lots of photos of the globe Earth. 2. There are many satellites in space. 3. There are GPS and Google Map. 4. Galileo proved heliocentric, that with the Earth around the Sun. 5. Newton proved the gravity that keeps us from falling though the Earth's spinning. 6. Eclipses can be calculated accurately. 7. Horizon proved the Earth is curved. 8. Round the world flight. 9. Many countries have space programs. It is not possible that countries lie of all. 10. The flat Earth is a backwards 500 years. 10 very solid arguments, isn't it? It turns out that if we review the data and the fact that credible, that 10 things turned out to be not true. We will discuss 10 arguments one by one into the storyline flowing, interesting and easy to understand. All the data is there in front of our eyes. We just never noticed it. When there are people who say to me that the Earth is flat, I think these guys are joking. I immediately did some research to dispute while simultaneously investigating the intellectual actor who spread disinformation about the flat Earth. But I found the opposite. Flat Earth is not intentionally spread by psyops, the agents of disinformation, but rather a moral movement which arose due to the rise of flat Earth awareness, especially in the United States and Europe. Google and YouTube are full of flat Earth topic because many people do some research and post the findings of his findings about the flat Earth. This is people power without organization. The most common question is, if the Earth is flat, how can a plane can fly from west to east could return to its original place? Isn't this thing used to be evidenced by Columbus 500 years ago? If the Earth is flat, its end is what? Why do not we fall? If the Earth is flat, how can happen day and night? If the Earth is flat and the lunar eclipse is not caused by the shadow of the Earth's sphere, how can it be predicted accurately by NASA? Another common question is, many countries have space programs, how could they all lying? That's my initial questions when conducting research to disprove flat Earth topic. Which I find instead the opposite. I actually find the facts completely different that overturn the paradigm for this. This exposure will answer those questions in each episode. In episode 5, specifically addressed the question of flights around the world. There's not much known that a map of the world before the creation of NASA in 1958 is a map of the Earth is flat. You can check yourself in Boston Public Library. USGS's Geological Survey, which the most credible in the world, say that the flat Earth map is the basis of map-making Earthball through a mathematical projection called azimuthal equidistant. Based on information from the USGS and the flat Earth map of the Boston Public Library, the equator on a map looks like this. Is actually the equator on a flat Earth map like this. The center circle is the North Pole. The compass needle always pointed towards the north. So if we are flying from west to east, we'll go back to the place again. This will be explained further on episode 5. Actually easy to prove that the Earth is spherical or not. You can fly across Antarctica from Sydney to Santiago, Chile, for example. Why have to cross the Atlantic Ocean that far? It's closer through Antarctica, isn't it? Just try to cross the Antarctic, whether with commercial aircraft or private aircraft. Surely you will not be able to do it. The global elite conceal Antarctica from you via the Antarctic Treaty 1959. Antarctica is flat Earth secret guarded by US forces allied with Russia. This will be discussed at the 5th episode of Antarctica and Nuclear Bomb Dome of Earth. The sun rises and sets due to perspective, not the result of the curvature of the Earth. Map of the Earth in the Boston Public Library also explains about the rising and setting of the sun. In the summer, the sun spinning near the North Pole, that results in the sun never sets, including Norway and Alaska, because the sun is far from a perspective that is in the outer circles of Antarctica. Since childhood we are taught that the sun are very large. The sun is 109 times bigger than the Earth. The sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, but its distance miraculously 400 times further away, so appear to the same magnitude. The most improbable coincidence in the universe. You receive these numbers without ever having dared to ask for fear. A little stupid. Honestly, do you know how to calculate the distance of the moon? Science? Episode 4 Eclipse and Horizon discusses this problem in detail. The distance of the moon are calculated 2,300 years ago by trigonometry using the assumptions of the shadow on the moon. It's not the only way to calculate the distance. Why calculate distance using the shadows on the moon? We cannot calculate the distance of the sun using a shadow on Earth. The results are completely different. The sun and the moon are not that far and not as big as modern science said. How to prove that the distance of the moon and the sun were wrong? Very easily. Science says these numbers as the dogma of the righteous. On the other hand, NASA predict eclipses don't use those numbers, but uses a Saros cycle created by the ancient Babylonia. You can prove this information on NASA's official website. Eclipse is a routine event that occurs in a cycle of 18 years, 11 months, 8 hours, has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. This is a fact. For thousands of years were discovered by the ancient Babylonians and used by NASA to predict eclipses. Now you can try to use the numbers on the left of it in order to generate the cycle lunar eclipses on the right of it. You will not be able to do it. All professors and a very smart doctor who are hired by NASA with a budget of $200 million per year, nobody can do it. Because of the numbers, it does everything wrong. This is a proof through numbers that surely is not a nonsense. 1 + 1 is 2 or not? If not, it means that it is wrong. Calendar eclipse cycle, that is a fact for thousands of years. Meanwhile, figures it was the assumptions and theories. As long as you cannot predict eclipses with numbers of righteous dogma, it means you have to question what the universe is taught since childhood is true. This will be discussed at the 4th episode. Our logic and the 5 senses have been blinded by the formulas based on the wrong assumptions were reinforced with pictures, imagination through computer animation. Propaganda, mind control. As stated by Hitler, make a huge lie, says quite simply, doing it over and over again, then people will believe. You would certainly think that navigation on your mobile using satellite and GPS. It is the perception and opinion, not a fact. In fact, Google Maps says that a sophisticated navigation does not use GPS satellites. We will discuss this in episode 2. GPS is a military technology since 1973 are derived from the old technology that LORAN or long-distance range of navigation since World War II in 1945. The global network created not only by 8 large towers. From there, and then supplied to the telecom tower, to get to your phone. There is no need satellites. Quality and signal coverage is still continuing with multiply telecommunication towers. Myth: the satellite sends a signal to the main tower 8. Can you prove it? If it can't, it's tantamount to saying that the money in your pockets is submissions from Santa Claus. You can try searching for satellites in Google. You will find lots of pictures of satellites. What the pictures were genuine? Or just a computer-generated imagery? Satellite businesses are fertile ground arising from the illusions of the Earth's sphere. Rumored one satellite worth $1.5 million to $4.6 million haven't included operational costs. 13,000 satellites worth $3 billion. People often question why lie reserved shape of the Earth? Well, there are 3 billion reasons for that, and that is not the end. This will be discussed in episode 2, Trillion Dollar Business. Such is the case with the space program, how it is possible Russia and China quietly only if NASA lie. We'll discuss it on the 6th episode of the NASA Hollywood. That's the facts that I found when trying to refute flat Earth. To be honest, in my personal order is there is no differences if you want to believe the Earth is box or a triangle. The world will continue to run. But in a social level, if one lie is uncovered, all the lies and the terrors committed by the global elite will be dismantled. It's like pebbles that could make a giant fall. That's what makes many flat Earth consciousness exponentially since November 2015. Behind the various crises impoverishing the people, there are a handful of people who dredge the advantage. Tragically, people do not realize. Awareness of flat Earth could potentially become a domino effect which endanger the superiority of power and global elites' trillions of dollars of business that they hide. Please do your own research. Please spread the word to encourage people to verify. The ball will keep rolling like a shift of paradigm, shift of consciousness. It's all part of 10 arguments of the Earth's sphere will be discussed one by one in this exposure. The first episode discusses the first 2 arguments. If we look at the photographs of the Earth, we are so aware that photographs of the Earth, published by NASA, is computer-generated imagery. Advances in technology are indeed sometimes makes people difficult to differentiate between computer-generated imagery or original. But those who have been accustomed is not difficult to discern. If we collect photographs of the Earth that officially issued by NASA from 1975 until 2015, seem that artists who create computer-generated imagery not consistent in color. Not only that, a conscientious person found video footage of the Earth taken from space that said there was a camera light reflection. In other words, the recording was made in studio films using light effects. The question now, are there any photographs of the Earth at the results of the NASA satellite that is not computer-generated imagery? You can check it by yourself and the answer is nothing. The second argument of the Earth's sphere: there are many satellites in space to prove that the Earth was spherical. Let's verify the fact. There are thousands of satellites in space, right? There are thousands of telescopes on Earth, that is a radio telescope or optical telescope, right? Can we see thousands of satellites in space through thousands of telescopes on Earth? Please research your own. The answer is no. Surprising, isn't it? There are thousands of satellites, but none can be seen with optical telescope and none sounded or detected by the radio telescope. There is only the computer-generated images and news stories in the media. All satellite photos is computer-generated imagery. Please see the official NASA publication loaded on YouTube. The title was the NASA TV Video File 2015. This is the trailer. You see by yourself all the video that referred to the NASA TV Video File Computer Generated Imagery 2015. Please search by yourself. Is there any satellite photos that is not computer-generated imagery? Instead of the results from the telescope? The answer is nothing. If satellite doesn't exist, what about GPS? How about a long-distance call? Google Map? Why lie about it? What's in it? This will be discussed in the following chapters.